You're listening to The Runaround with Brad Jager and Greg Jubb. On Baltimore's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 1300 AM. This is Greg Jubb alongside Brad Jager for another installment of Running Maryland's The Runaround here on ESPN 1300 AM, the only show made by runners and track athletes and endurance athletes for runners, track athletes, and endurance athletes. As always, the show is brought to you by Halliburton Sports. If you're looking for the widest array of running shoes and gear, check out Halliburton Sports online at halliburtonsports.com or visit their Baltimore showroom on Pulaski Highway. And also be sure to check us out at runningmaryland.com for all the latest news, results, rankings, photos, videos, and more. Or if you're interested in having your race or event managed by one of the premier race management companies in the Mid-Atlantic region, visit us online at runningmaryland.com. And today, we're being joined by our good friend, Ryan McGrath of the Baltimore Running Company, also of the Falls Road Racing Team. Ryan, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, guys. Glad to be here.
So we're going to go over a few of the races that happened this past week and weekend. Brad, let's start with you. You saw some of the high school races this past weekend.
Oh, I saw a lot of high school races this past weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there was a lot going on, but with a lot of school systems having a week off, there was a lot of kids that were missing from the meets this weekend. But at the Coppin State Early Bird Invitational, I believe on Wednesday, Champ Page of Weiss High School went 21:76 in the 200. Good time for early season. It was a nice day that day also, so we got lucky with the weather, no wind. In the 400, Xavier Bynum of Duval, 49:73. And Champ's teammate, Bayshawn Hamilton of Wise at 49:91. Two guys under 50 seconds early in the season.
That's a good 4x400 team for Wise High School there. Do they have two other legs they can run?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they have a couple of good guys from the youth teams that run down there, supply those the PG high schools with some good quality runners. So
do you think Champ's just tuning up for the 400, doing a fast 200 to kind of do like an early season race?
I saw him early in the season running 800, 204 800. So they have them all over the place trying to get them set. But I think his strong event's going to be the 200, 400. So.
Okay.
Also there, Michael Francis, an early season 22-foot long jump from Digital Harbor. Looking good. Last year he was high 22, so starting off the season pretty good. Wise also blew out a 1:28.03 800 relay.
Yikes!
So, yeah, not bad, not bad. At the Seahawk Invitational, which we timed on Saturday at South River High School, Alexis Franklin of Old Mill and going to Ohio State started out with a nice triple, 14:73 in the 100 hurdles, 44:07 in the 300 hurdles, and 57:43 in the 400.
Business as usual. Yeah. Business as usual for Miss Franklin there.
Running by herself, smiling the entire way. So she looks good early in the season. They ran a 5,000 meters there, which is unusual for high schools. And Harry Bullen of Annapolis ran 15:45, pulling away from Alex Love in the last 800. At the Cougar Relays, Northwest, we thought they'd be hurting this year after they lost to Olivia Ekpene and Brett Eckerstrom, but no, they come back and they run a 1:41.2 800 relay. They come back and get second in the 4x400 relay at 3:55.7. They win the 3200 relay at 9:28.6. And then they win by 14 seconds the sprint medley in 4:13.2. Impressive, most likely with 5 different girls on the team. So they look pretty strong. So Wooten ran that won the 4x4 at 3:53.8. Fast early season times.
See, now, of the string of all the relays that Northwest did, what do you think is the most impressive? They seem all equally impressive. I mean, that has some real depth on that team. I think that's what's most impressive, actually.
Oh, the 141 too. Yeah. You know, it's early season. Their first time running on a straight 200 without all the turns in there. The handoffs aren't down yet. They'll be under 140 by the end of the season.
It's something else.
And Bowie wasn't far behind at 142 too. So 800 relay times are going to be fast.
And you said 3:53.
3:53 for Wooten. Yeah.
Wow, Montgomery County. There you go.
And Josh Treziak, I know I'm probably saying his name wrong, but it's all syllables, of Wooten ran 4:18.8 over Will Conway, Braden Bruning, Patrick Dubois, and Evan Larada. So it was a fast race. He started way back in the pack, came through the 800 at about 2:12, and came back with a 2:06 to finish up that race. Also, on the surprises this year was going to be Thomas Stone High School. They ran a 3:22 1600 relay, an 8:10 2-mile. They have a good hurdler in Rakeem Jones, and they have a strong long and triple jumper in Maurice Rucker. They're going to be really tough going for the 3A state title this year. I think they're going to surprise everybody. And let's finish off with the Baltimore County relays. Travis Jenkins of Kenwood jumped 21:11 in the long jump, and the Hereford girls came out with a 9:35 3200 relay. So
Same team that probably ran that fourth place finish up in the 4x-mile at New Balance, correct?
same team.
There you go. They're deep.
Yep.
But this weekend, there's always track races, but really this is a big weekend for road races. That's why we have Ryan here, the road racing specialist. I think let's start locally first. The Cherry Blossom 10-miler. You were there.
I was. It was obviously Cherry Blossom is one of the biggest races of the spring, really a tradition. You always hope that it times well with the actual cherry blossoms popping on the trees. This year, because of the weather, it was a little bit early, but the race day weather could not have been better. You had a 45:15 from the men's winner, Alan Kiprono, which is 1 second off of the U.S. all-comers fastest 10 miles ever run on U.S. soil.
That comes out to 4:32 a mile.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And he was
Scary.
by himself. I mean, he won by 75 seconds, not even close.
Sometimes when you get in those races, though, especially if you know distance runners, they feed off that lead, and they're going out and say he's just clicking off miles. I'm sure when I said he came through the 5K, I read the race recap. He's looking strong, and after that, it was all Kiprono after that. So
There's some days you just feel good and you have it, and those eyes don't blink for 10 miles, and we all know what it's like. You just get into that zone and you go.
Well, what was incredible was standing about 200 or 300 meters from the finish line, the elite women are given a 10-minute head start. So the women's winner was just over 54 minutes, which meant that Kiprono was really hot on her heels. First she comes through, and then a very short, 30, 45 seconds later, here comes the men's winner eating up a 10-minute head start.
And talking about the women's winner, Jalea Tanega, she won last year, I think, as well.
She did. This year she ran
54:02. It looks like
54:02.
almost breaking 54 minutes. That's something else.
Almost. I think that's a respectable time. You would like to see maybe being slightly closer, lower 50s, especially if they're bringing in these athletes to do that.
For the women's race, though, I think the story of the meet, Colleen DeRook used to have the world record in the 10-mile when she ran that race in the late 90s. She's 47 years old, and she ran 58:14 for 10 miles.
47 years old, 58-minute 10-mile, really, really impressive. Also in the race, U.S. legend, iconic Joan Benoit Samuelson, running a 102:30, 102:28 chip time, I think. I forget how old she is.
She's 54, I think. I think it was 54.
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible.
I mean, that's natural talent, though. I mean, the inaugural Olympic marathon champion back in '84 in Los Angeles. I mean, she's still got it.
Yeah.
Still looks smooth. I saw a picture of her online at runwashington.com,
Yeah,
and it was
she's
like
there.
she looks like she can still move. Did you see some of the local athletes there? I know you keep in touch with a lot of the Baltimore runners and the DC runners as well.
Yeah, great race between most of the local guys. You saw the Pacers running store down in Virginia. They had a good pack coming through just around 50 minutes, but from there it was Georgetown Running Company, Howard County Striders, Falls Road Running with some really good performances. Top Baltimore finisher was Dustin Meeker at 51:53. Huge PR for him, a minute 45.
Carlos Rengifo from Howard County Striders had a really nice race down there, too.
Carlos has been on an absolute tear lately. He's been PRing in every distance he runs. Obviously, the winner of Shamrock 5K here in Baltimore a couple of weeks back. He's been really impressive lately.
An impressive race from Steve Hallinan, formerly of American University, used to be trained by Coach Matt Centrowitz Sr.
Right.
over there at American. I know he was a mile 5K kind of guy. He's showing that he's got the legs for the 10-mile race. I think he ran a 49-minute 10-mile earlier this year, but he picked up a nice chunk of change, placing 9th, I believe. But nonetheless, very cool race. But moving further throughout the world now, Prague Half Marathon. 20-year-old Etsedu Tsegay of Ethiopia runs an incredible time of 58:47 for the 13.1-mile race. I mean, I think that's actually just under 4 minutes and 30 seconds per mile. I think that's just a hair under 4:30, maybe 4:29.
I think you're right. And fourth fastest time ever run in history.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's the Ethiopian record. He breaks Haile Gebrselessi's Ethiopian record. That's That's no slouch achievement right there. That guy is an icon.
I'm sure I'm glad you can say these names. There's no chance in Hades I'm going to get any of these names right.
Before I get on the show, I stand in the mirror and I say the toughest names possible to make sure the pipes are warmed up for the show, so trust me.
If your name isn't Mary Smith or Bob Jones, I'm dead.
Count Brad out. The Carlsbad 5K, considered to be the fastest 5K in the world. Ethiopian Dejan Gebremeskel wins in 13:11. So, I mean, interesting for these guys to step off the track in an Olympic year to do this, but this is a fun race. I mean, it really is.
Well, you might remember Gebremeskel from indoor last season, won the 3K up in Boston with just one shoe.
Yep.
Got flat tired as soon as the gun went off, won the race with one shoe. The guy obviously knows what he's doing. 13:11, from what I understand, I haven't run the Carlsbad course, but it's not fast by virtue of the course, but rather because of the competition. They have tons of heats, and everybody just races, and that's why it's fast. But
it's always cool to see a fast 5K road race. I mean, usually you don't think 5Ks get a lot of press, but that's something that's cool. To see. Usually you see a fast 5K, you say, "Wow, someone broke 16 minutes." But when you see 13 low, whole new ballpark of elite talent. So, but Ryan, you had some notes on the U-Crops Monument 10K. That's another big race.
Another, springtime is here. It's upon us. Every city you go, there's tons of races now every single weekend. Notwithstanding, U-Crops Monument Ave 10K down in Richmond. 40,000 people registered to do this race. Just straight down Monument Ave there in Richmond. Big party scene. Everyone dresses up in costumes, but there is a very competitive element to it. The winning time was 28:33 by, an Ethiopian whose name I can't pronounce, that's for sure. But he beat the defending champion Julius Kogo, a name I can say. And 28 and a half minutes for 10K is you don't see stuff like that around here. Ricky Flynn, who had been on your show previously, he was the first American, 6th overall at 30:10. That's a really impressive performance for him. And the women's winner, Malika Mejdub of Morocco, formerly stationed here in Baltimore, runs just over 33 minutes at Monument Ave on Saturday, comes back, gets second in just a shade under 54 and a half on Sunday at Cherry Blossom.
Yeah, I got to say something. You mentioned 33 minutes in the 10K.
Oh, I
have to bring this up.
I know where you are going.
I saw this on Let'sRun.com today. A high school phenom, to say the least. Kayla Hatton of Massachusetts. I'm not sure which school. I have to look that up again. But she ran a 33:17 10K on the track at Tufts University, the Snowflake Invitational, which is kind of a misnomer, I think, at this point in the season. You think that's an indoor track invitational, but not something for late April, or early April, I should say. 33:17 for a high schooler in the 10K. I mean, she was relatively unknown before that. I mean, granted, this year she ran a 4:51 mile, so that puts you on the map. But she's now averaging 5:19, 5:20 per mile for 6.2 miles.
A 4:51 mile in no way, shape, or form is going to
equate to a 33:17 10K.
I'll tell you what, this is a girl that's going to be running the 10K in college for sure.
Yeah.
And then really, from what I'm seeing here for these kind of stats, she's going to be a marathoner. That's just the way it is. It's almost like Hannah Oneida right here in Maryland. She just keeps getting better as the distances get longer. But 33:17.
Great time. Don't want to take anything away from her, but you don't know the backstory here either. I mean, how does she train? Does she overtrain?
The story with her actually is this is her first full year of track or something like that. She's a relative newcomer in terms of full-time distance running. Really impressive.
Right.
And just to talk about track real quick, let's wind up real quick for the race recap. A windy day at Texas Relays for the sprinters, but in a good way. Got some wind-aided times. What I found really impressive, Marvin Bracey, senior in high school, runs 10.06 in the 100. Granted, that's wind-aided, but still. Jeff Demps was also in that race, running the college 100 meter for Florida, 10.01. So, I know it was very windy, but nonetheless, you got to be on your game.
Still 10:06.
And this is a guy who is giving up football to focus on track, especially in this Olympic year. So, and his coach said that wasn't the best technical race for him. Sonia Richards-Ross, 10.89 in the 100. She's a 400 runner.
Yeah, hadn't run the 100 in years, she said.
Yeah.
But that's got to be a confidence booster going into what's going to be the most important next couple of months for track and field in terms of gearing up for the Olympics.
It'd be interesting to see if Allison Felix can do that 200, 400 double.
Yeah, the one that was really touted for world championships last year. Didn't exactly work out for her, but this is a whole new year.
Just to jump in there, I don't think she's going to do it. I think she's smart enough. I think she wants Olympic gold. Stick to the 200.
Focus.
Win it.
Focus. Yeah, I like that. Keep
And
it.
the big story, Greg, let's talk about the 1,500 going out of the Olympics for the mile, right? You told us all
man.
about that the other day.
I got duped. I'll tell you what, April Fool's Day, it takes two kind of people to make April Fool's Day happen. One to fool, one to get fooled. I got fooled. I got sent a press release. Should have known it was April 1st. I woke up and I was like, look at this. I mean, I'm a miler. I'm hopeful for the mile to come back and replace the 1,500, but lo and behold, I got duped. Oh, well. That's the name of the game. I got a good laugh out of it. Some people said, Greg, come on, you got to wake up, man. So maybe it's a good lesson in being able to be a little more self-aware or aware of what's actually going on, or just simply aware of the date, I should say.
Yeah.
April Fool's Day, you win. April Fool's 1, Greg 0.
Or stop drinking at midnight.
Hey. Anyway, coming up, we'll be talking to Frank Zarnowski, the founder of the Decathlon Association. He'll talk to us about what he and the Oregon Track Club are doing for this year's Olympic trials to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Olympic Decathlon. That and more coming up.